morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all the viewers of the Izexonamid YouTube Sports TV, our fellow fans that is in the entire world. It's a blessing to have you, and thanks for the follow-up of the sports. Yesterday and even on Saturday, we had that is game 32 in the Premier League, where Arsenal lost title hopes as Liverpool gained that is title hopes. Chelsea lost Champions League hopes, and Manchester United are still stuck. That is on the second page. My fans that is in the entire world, as I predicted earlier on, I think I went like 95% of my total predictions that I had given earlier on, that is in the Premier League. To the fans of Arsenal Football Club, I think they have lost momentum in the Premier League, and their hopes are now that is in the Champions League, having that is one leg advantage, having beaten Real Madrid that was 3-0, and they are waiting for the advance fixture that will be Wednesday on the 16th of this month. Ladies and gentlemen, as I pass through what transpired, Arsenal opened up that is the weekend with a massive Manchester City opened up the weekend that was on Saturday with the early kickoff, beating Crystal Palace, as its chances of qualifying for Champions League football are still under stout, but the fight continues. Manchester City was led 2-0, a goal scored by Eberechi Eze, and even another goal that was cancelled. However, they managed to build on the momentum in the absence of Erling Brandt Haaland. They bounced back to winning ways and ended up ending Crystal Palace's almost 2 months without a defeat, and they beat it. That was 5-2. Goals coming in from Omar Mamosh, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, the likes of Mark McCarthy scored one of the beautiful goals. All in all, Manchester City opened up the weekend on high tempo. Brighton, Hove and Leicester are also some of the teams that played on Saturday, and Brighton have lost the form under that is their coach, the big man himself, Fabian Huzila. Things are not moving on positively, as Leicester managed to draw them. That was 2-2 at their home stadium, that is the American Express Stadium, and Leicester had gone almost 6 games without even a single point, drawing it. That was 2-2. So Brighton's hopes of fighting for European football, I think they were cut short by the impressive Leicester on that day under Rod Van Nistelrooy. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest were beaten by Everton, in form Everton having lost only a single game up against Liverpool ever since the introduction of that is David Moyes. They went and they became dominant, that is at the City grounds, beating it. That was Nottingham Forest 1-0, scored by a Muslim, that is Abdoulaye Dokore, and the Peruvian superstar. That was in the 94th minute. They would have won this game earlier on. However, Nottingham Forest looked very resilient in defense, but finally Everton managed to get it right, and they won that game in the dying minutes through Abdoulaye Dokore. And after that game, that is their coach David Moyes stated that Everton should be competing for European football, as he did it. That was at West Ham Football Club, winning for them that is the UEFA Conference League. Southampton was beaten 3-0 by the impressive Aston Villa, who have now gone that is 4 consecutive games in the league, winning despite of them being beaten that is in the Champions League 3-1. When they bounce back to a relegated team that is Southampton, they managed to win this fixture convincingly. Goals coming in from the likes of Oli Watkins, the likes of Mark Asensio, the likes of Mark Ginn, meaning that the hopes of fighting that is for Champions League position are still open. Arsenal ended up the day that was on Saturday, drawing that was 1-1 in the game that they were not all that very impressive, and even coach Mikel Arteta rested some of his players. However, the result ended up that was 1-1 after Brentford drawing 0-0 earlier on the previous weekend up against Chelsea. They came that is at the Emirates Stadium and still snatched a point. Arsenal had taken the early lead through a counter-attack that came around the second half when Declan Rice, the key man in the previous game up against Real Madrid, led an attack that was started by the big man himself, that is David Raya, and Thomas Partey calmly finished that ball. However, Around the 76th minute, that is John Wissa managed to score, that is a half volley, to deny Arsenal all the 3 points, despite of them resting most of the key players, the likes of Bakayo Saka, the likes of Martin Odegaard. Even in their introduction, the game ended, that was 1-1. On Sunday, we had another game that was a big game. Brentford up against Chelsea. This game ended Ipswich Town up against Chelsea. This game ended, that was 2-2 in favor of either side, as that is Ipswich Town took the early lead, that was in halftime, scoring 2 quick goals. Despite Chelsea being dominant in this game, Ipswich Town had the high momentum and they scored the goals. However, the return of second half, Chelsea managed to pull 1 goal back through, that is defender Mark Chuchulera, and even Jordan Sancho scored a wonderful goal in the 79th minute, making it, that was 2-2. To those one that had witnessed me on TV the previous Friday, had given these games, that is on UCTV. So keep following, liking and commenting. So Chelsea are currently stuck, that is in 6th position after that poor start, all those 2 consecutive draws. Liverpool are the title contenders or the title leader, the runaway Premier League leaders, managed to beat, that is West Ham 2-1, despite of Liverpool opening up the scoring through Luis Diaz. They scored themselves, that is an own goal, that is Robertson, around the 84th minute, thinking that maybe West Ham would go ahead with at least a draw after Liverpool had lost some form. However, the captain led by example, that is Virgil van Dijk, scoring a header in the dying minutes, meaning that Liverpool are currently on 76 points, 13 points away from Arsenal, who are following up, that is in 2nd position with only 63 points. Wolverhampton managed to thump that was Tottenham, meaning that Ange Postecoglou's side are not in good control. However, we give the love that the club owner, that is Daniel Levy, has managed to go ahead and not sacking him despite of the poor state of the team. The big game was at Sunday, still the late game, that was Newcastle up against Manchester United, and Newcastle just thumped, that is Manchester United 4-1, meaning with so doing they went, that is into 4th position, currently on 56 points with a game in hand. Nottingham in 3rd position with 51 points. Arsenal have 63 points. Should Newcastle win their game, they have chances of even finishing, that is in the 2nd position. But this team under Eddie Howe are playing impressively. So those are some of the key games that transpired. To my fans, followers, that is in the entire world, thanks for watching, believing in me. My sponsors, Beam Restaurant, Wande Gear, thanks for your support, and even Alpha Tours and Travel from Iganga for the abroad solutions, thanks for your support, alongside the Hub Sports Collection. As always, I'm Ezekson Hamidu, the sports encyclopedia.